Now today I am going to teach you the first part of the story, The Girl Who Can, written by Emma Atta Aidoo. This particular story is written in first person format as if it is an autobiography. They say that I was born in Hasodzi, and it is a very big village in the central region of our country, Ghana. They say means the people say that I was born in Hasodzi, a big village in the central region of Ghana. They also say that when all of Africa is not choking under a drought, Hasodzi lies in a fertile lowland in a district known for its good soil. So, people also say that when Africa isn't suffering from drought, Hasodzi lies in a fertile lowland known for its good soil. So, it was fortunate that their village called Hasodzi had good soil, okay, fertile soil. Even at the time of drought, okay, they had proper crops. Maybe that is why anytime I don't finish eating my food, Nana, means grandmother, says, "You Adjoa, you don't know what life is about. You don't know what problems there are in this life." So that's why when I don't finish my food, the author doesn't finish her food. Nana means her grandmother says, "You Adoja, you don't know what life is about. You don't know what problems are there in this life." As far as I could see, there was only one problem, and it had nothing to do with what I knew Nana considered as problems, or what Mummy, my mother, thinks of as the problem. So, the actual problem has nothing to do with what Nana considers to be problem, or what Mummy, my mother, thinks as the problem. Mummy is my mother, Nana is my mother's mother, is my maternal grandmother. And they say I am 7 years old. People say that I am, or my guardians say that I am 7 years old. And my problem is that at these 7 years of age, there are things I can think in my head, but which maybe I do not have the proper language to speak them out with. And that I think is a very serious problem. So I cannot express my thinkings into words. Okay, what I think I cannot express that in words, in proper way of saying. And why is this a serious problem? It is a serious problem because it is always difficult to decide whether to keep quiet and not say any of the things that come into my head, or say them and get laughed at. Because if I say something and don't say it correctly, then people laugh at me. Not that it is easy to get any grown up to listen to you even when you decide to take the risk and say something serious to them. So even if I risk saying something serious, it is hard to get a grown up to listen. They don't take me seriously. Take Nana. First I have to struggle to catch her attention. Then I tell her something I had taken a long time to figure out. And then you know what always happens? She would once stop whatever she is doing and mouth open stare at me for a very long time. So first I struggle to catch the attention of my Nana, my grandmother. Then I tell her something I thought about for a long time. And what happens? She stops whatever she is doing and stares at me with her mouth open. Then bending and turning her head slightly so that one ear comes down towards me. So that one ear of Nana comes down towards me, she will say in that voice, "Adjoa, you say what? Ki bolle?" After I have repeated whatever I had said, she would either still in that voice ask, "Never, never, but never to repeat that," or she would immediately burst out laughing. So either whatever I say, after I repeat myself, She either tells me to never to say that again or laughs until she cries. Okay. She would laugh and laugh and laugh until tears run down her cheeks, and she would stop whatever she is doing and wipe away the tears with the hanging edges of her cloth. So as if she has said something very funny. She doesn't take her seriously. And she would continue laughing until she is completely tired. But then as soon as another person comes by, just to make sure she doesn't forget whatever it was that I had said, she would repeat it to her. And then, of course, there would be two old people laughing and screaming with tears running down their faces. Sometimes these shows continues until there are three, four, or even more such laughing and screaming tear-faced grown-ups. And all that performance on what I had said. I find something quite confusing in all this. That is, no one ever explains to me why sometimes I shouldn't repeat some things I say, while at other times some other things I say would not only be alright, but would be considered so funny that would be repeated so many times for so many people's enjoyment. So, I don't understand one thing, that sometimes I say something and they tell me, my my nana, my mama tells me not to repeat that. Okay, she would say not to repeat that, and there are some things that they go on repeating. If I say something, they tell me to say it once again, and after I say that, they burst out laughing. They laugh and laugh until tears roll down their eyes, and then Nana says this to someone else, and then to someone else, and then to someone else. Okay, and I turn into a comic character. I find a character of entertainment for all of them. You see how neither way of hearing me out can encourage me to express my thoughts too often. So the neither way. What are the two ways? The two ways are either to hear what I have said and tell me to keep my mouth shut, not to repeat it, or to say something. If they consider something very funny, they tell me to repeat it, and they personally repeat it to others. Okay, the both way of hearing me out doesn't encourage me to express my thoughts too often. Okay, so even if I have something in my mind, I can say it, I can express that to others. Like all this business to do with my legs. I have always wanted to tell them not to worry. I mean Nana and my mother, that it did not have to be an issue for my two favorite people to fight over. But I didn't want either to be told not to repeat, or to it to be considered so funny that anyone would laugh at me until they cried. So I want to tell Nana and Mummy not to worry, but I don't want to be told not to repeat it or to be laughed at. After all, they are my legs. Okay, why are they so considered about my legs? After all, they are my legs. When I think back on it now, those two, Nana and my mother, must have been discussing my legs from the day I was born. What I am sure of is that when I came out of the land of sweet, soft silence into the world of noise and comprehension, the first topic I met was my legs. So I was sure that when I was in my mother's womb, I was in a land of sweet, soft silence, and when I was born, okay, it was a world full of noise and comprehension, is understanding. And the first topic that was the subject of discussion of my guardians, my grandmother and my mother, was about my legs. That discussion was repeated very regularly. What would Nana say? Nana would say, aha, you know, Kaya, I thank my God that your very first child is female. But Kaya, I am not sure about her legs. And Nana would shake her head. Mommy would say, means my mother was, mother, why are you always complaining about Adjuria's legs? If you ask me, they are too thin, and I am not asking you. Nana has many voices. There is a special one she uses to shut everyone up. That means she uses some serious tone, okay, that subdues the other person and make them stop speaking. Some people have no legs at all. My mother would try again with her small courage. But edu, 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 sorry, but Ajoa has legs. Nana would insist, except that they are too thin and also too long for a woman. Kaya, listen. Kaya is the name of the mother. Okay, the author's mother. Kaya, listen. Once in a while, but once in a very long while, somebody decides nature, a child spirit, mother, an accident happens and somebody gets born without arms or legs or both sets of limbs, and then let me touch food. It is a sad business. And you know, such things are not for talking about every day. But if any female child decides to come into this world with legs, then they might as well be legs. Now let me explain the whole portion in a very easier way. So when Nana shows her disappointment about the thin legs of the author, then the author's mother would say that, Mother, why are you always complaining about my daughter's legs? Okay, Nana interrupts in a very serious voice that the legs are too thin, and that special voice subdues the narrator's mother. She again tries to say, but some people have no legs at all. My daughter has legs. আমার মৃত্যুটাও পা রয়েছে। এই পৃথিবীতে এমন অনেক মানুষ আছে যাদের পা নেই। But Nana insists, Ajua has legs, but they are too thin and too long for a woman. A woman must have legs with meat on them. Okay, what he actually means to say is that a woman must have legs with meat on them. Okay, good muscles on them. What kind of legs? And always at that point I knew from her voice that my mother was weeping inside. Nana never heard such inside weeping. So my mother felt bad because Nana used to point out a defect, okay, and no mother wants to be criticized about some defect in her daughter's body part. So the author's mother also felt sad that her own mother always complains about her granddaughter's legs. She used to weep from inside, but that weeping never touched Nana's heart. Okay, not that it would have stopped Nana even if not that it would have stopped Nana even if she had heard it. So even if Nana had heard my mother weeping, still she would continue with her same reproach about my legs, which always surprised me. But how can Nana be so heartless? Because about almost everything else apart from my legs, Nana is such a good grown-up. In any case, what do I know about good grown-ups and bad grown-ups? Okay, in my age, good grown-ups and bad grown-ups, I don't want to make such a difference. I don't want to differentiate my near and dear ones into good grown-ups and bad grown-ups. They are all my dear ones. Okay, my Nana and my Mama. How could Nana be a good grown-up when she carried on so about my legs? But she always complains about my legs, that I have thin legs, I have long legs. Okay, I don't have the muscles that woman should have in her legs. So these things always gave pain to my mother, and Nana was um never so sympathetic enough to realize the sadness that my mother felt when Nana used to speak those things. All I want to say is that I really like Nana, except for that. So, except that particular thing, I love my Nana, my grandmother. But that particular thing that she always complained about my thin legs, that I disliked. And Nana would say, as I keep saying, if any woman decides to come into this world with all of her two legs, then she should select legs that would have meat on them with good calves. Because you are sure such legs would support solid hips, and a woman must have solid hips to be able to have children. So Nana felt that I, means the narrator, will not be able to deliver or give birth to healthy baby because she doesn't have thin legs. Okay, she will not have that strong wombs to carry a baby. Okay, according to her, a woman must have legs with good meat on them, good calves to support solid hips to have children. Oh, mother, that's how my mother would answer, very, very quietly. And the discussion would end or they would move on to something else. So, in a polite way, in a very quiet manner, my mother would try to protest, but the discussion would end because they would move to other ways. They will separate into two groups, or they will uh, then be busy in their own work. Sometimes Nana would pull in something about my father. How, looking at such a man, we have to be humble and admit that after all, God's children are many. How, after one's only daughter had insisted on marrying a man like that, you still have to thank your God that the biggest problem you got later was having a granddaughter with spindly legs that are too long for a woman and too thin to be of any use. So after that, Nana would say something that would subdue Mama, and she would not dare to say anything because obviously she had married a man who had betrayed her, and she had gone against Nana to marry my father. And so Nana used to poke my mother, saying that um, at least we are thankful that the biggest problem we have is a granddaughter with spindly legs. Means legs something like polio. Okay, legs which are very thin. Okay, very bony. She says that at least I am thankful that my granddaughter, after my own daughter, okay, married a man that I disagreed, that I didn't accept, and the man who cheated her. Okay, it's a relief that at least God has given only a granddaughter, okay, with thin legs, okay, with spindly legs, okay, too thin to be of any use. The way she always added that bit about my father under her breath, তিনি আর কি মানে খুব ফিস করে কথাটা বলতেন আমার বাবার ব্যাপারেতে. She probably thought I didn't hear it, but I always heard it. তিনি ভাবতেন হয়তো আমি ব্যাপারটা শুনতে পেতাম না, but I always heard it. Plus, that is what always shut my mother up for good, so that even if I had not actually heard the words, once my mother looked like even her little courage was finished, I could always guess what Nana had added to the argument. So sometimes, even if I had not heard those words about my father, okay, I could see the expression, the subdued expression on my mother's face. I would see how the little courage that my mother had would completely vanish. Okay, from that expression of my mother's face, I could guess that Nana had added that argument about my father. Legs that have meat on them with good calves to support solid hips to be able to have children. So these particular words, okay, used to haunt me. So I wish that one day I would see for myself the legs of any woman who had children. So আমি ঠিক করলাম যে যাদের যাদের আর কি মানে মাদারহুড এসেছে, যেসব মহিলাদের আমাদের গ্রামেতে, তাদের পা গুলো আমি ভালো করে লক্ষ্য করবো যে তাদের কি এমন পা. But in our village that is not easy. Why? Because the older women wear long wraps around all the time. Perhaps if they let me go bathe in the river in the evening, I could have checked, but I never had the chance because I was not allowed to bathe in the river in the evening. It took a lot of begging just to get my mother and Nana to let me go splash around in the shallow end of the river with my friends who were other little girls like me. For proper baths, we use the small bathhouse behind our hut. Therefore, the only naked female legs I have ever really seen are those of other little girls like me, or older girls in the school, and those of my mother and Nana, two pairs of legs which must surely belong to the approved kind, because Nana gave birth to my mother and my mother gave birth to me. So maybe my Nana and my mother had the approved kind of proper kind of legs because my Nana gave birth to my mother and my mother gave birth to me. Okay, I'd also seen the naked legs of my friends, okay, the little girls like me, or maybe the older girls in the school. In my eyes, all my friends have got legs that look like my legs, but whether the legs have got meat on them to support the kind of hips that, well, that I don't know. Okay, so this much for today. I hope that you have understood this portion. Uh, Goodbye.